Honda has been on a roll lately with their teaser game. First, it was a Civic Type R. And I've had several videos, including the one today, talking about their teasers with the upcoming Pilot. When it comes to their fully battery electric vehicle, which will come out in 2024, known as the Prologue, they're a lot more open to showing this vehicle. And then out of nowhere, they fully revealed it. The headline says, charging towards adventure at the Honda news page. Honda reveals styling of all-new Prologue electrified SUV. They're taking a different approach here to this vehicle, which is a rebadging, a clone of the Blazer EV. And the Blazer EV is focused more for on-road performance. They're taking more of like, you know, what we saw with the Pilot earlier today with the Trail Sport thing in mind. So maybe we have a Trail Sport version of this. That's a possibility. Look, Subaru really focused the Solterra as being more of an off-road EV. And I have a video coming tomorrow talking about the Solterra and the BZ4X are finally being reproduced. They're no longer recalled. They have a fix for it. So stay tuned for video coming soon on the channel regarding that news. So in this press release, there's some good information. We'll come back to it, but I wanted to go over the styling of this all new fully electric vehicle, the second available. The Clarity, I guess, was the first available. And then other parts of the world, you guys have had the Honda E, the cute little Civic, mini Civic, previous like 80s Civic sort of size. Anyways, that vehicle is an amazing design. But this Prologue, in my opinion, even though it shares so much with the Blazer EV, the same platform will be built in Mexico at the Ramos Arizpe plant. This vehicle looks better from Honda than the Blazer does. The Blazer looks overstyled. This Honda looks very minimal and clean. And these headlights are taking a cue from a lot of modern Hondas, including the headlights from the new Pilot. Of course, this is a charging port here. And yes, I mean, we've seen this vehicle in like renders, but never in actuality like we see here. And this could still be a render, but man, it looks pretty real. And this is the full design of the vehicle. What do you think of these wheels? I don't know. They look a little soft to me. What do you think of those rounded edges at the end? They almost look like flowers. Is that intentional? I don't know. Almost looks like a daisy or something. Okay, on the back, we have E all-wheel drive. And this is Honda likes using this E for their hybrid or electric vehicles. And then we also have the Prologue Elite. So Elite, we see in the top line of the Honda models. The Odyssey comes to mind. You see a lot of those Odyssey in the Elite trim. Now, I really like this Honda badging here. Look how it looks like 80s, like synth wave font. That's the best way for me to put it into my mind. I like how blocky and minimal it is. And then we also have BEV in 2024. Comes out in 2024. So I find it interesting that Honda reveals out of the blue their design for their electric car coming in 2024, while they're still teasing the heck out of the Pilot, which is coming this year and by the end of 2022. Yeah, it's well, look how tiny. Sorry, this really caught my attention. Look how small this rear windshield wiper is. So it's going to take like what? Just the middle portion. I guess that's all you need, because you see these headrests here. So this will clear the area between the headrests and leave the rest of the rear windshield up for being dirty. Now they're kind of bucking the modern trend right here with not having a light bar that goes across, and I'm okay with that. And of course, no exhaust tips. And you know, they're going for that more rugged design, so that therefore we have this like pseudo skid plate on the bottom rear here. You see some parking sensors here at the bottom of the vehicle as well. And notice, you know, the background's intentional here, showing which almost looks like the Pacific Northwest here with these pine trees and the bird in the background, the water as well, and the mountains. And then the background I didn't talk about here, this is more of like the city background. So they're kind of marketing this, you know, city people, city folk, and then also country folk. Now looking at the front, the headlights look so much like the taillights, right? You have the daytime running lights sitting at the top, and then on the brake lights, you have the brake lights kind of sitting on the top of the tail light structure. These are going to be the blinkers, and then the reverse lights is my guess. And yeah, I've been playing the video for you guys. I haven't really looked at the video. I enjoy more looking at these images. We kind of have this chrome portion at the bottom here, and it is possible that these could be active shutters here, and there may be chrome on them as well. It's kind of hard to tell. We also have some fog lights down here. That's good to see. Everyone likes those fog lights. From the proportions from the rear quarter panel here, looks pretty solid. Black handlebars, black mirror, kind of black roof rails. Could be silver. It is kind of hard to tell, but they're going with the paint matched antenna fin there on the back as well. Interior. Now this is where if it seems very General Motors and a little bit of Honda at the same time. It looks like we have a Bose audio. Honda uses Bose, so that is no change there. If we look at the controls here, we have a sport mode, so your driving modes are all the way on the left. That's a bit strange. You also have your lane keep, your parking, brake, and auto hold brake for traffic jams. Now notice how this is kind of blurred out here strangely, probably to not give away, and even the miles are blurred out. So that might be to not give away the range or anything like that. You have a compass here. You have a radio station set up, and this can be all customizable, I'm sure. And then you have your battery capacity here on the left, so it's at like 55-60% battery capacity. And then yeah, your digital speedometer as well. Here's your blinker stock, the steering wheel, large stitching here, heated steering wheel button on the steering wheel itself. So I guess that's confirmation of heating steering wheel, probably from the factory, which Honda doesn't like to do. They'd rather do it at the dealer level. We have stitching on the armrest here as well as the seats. We have more interior pictures here, which is great. So better look at these perforated seats. So that probably guarantees that we will have ventilated seats as well. And the back seats look okay. You have a fold down armrest / cup holder, I'm sure. And this just looks like a big screen of what we already see in Honda vehicles. A couple of USB ports, but we're going to get to this main front center image here. Kind of like the point of view that I like to do for my driving reviews. So two large screens here. This could be a 10 or a 12 inch. This one looks slightly larger, but the proportions just could be different. They both could be 12ers. This sort of software does not look like Honda software. This looks different. I don't drive General Motors vehicles, but this could be a new software either from Honda or more in line with General Motors software, which that's my guess what it is. Of course, you have the Apple CarPlay icon, so you'll have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Even though it is more than likely like General Motors software, you have this volume knob here, which is synonymous with current Hondas, the new Honda Civic, HRV, CRV coming out. A couple USB-Cs here, 12 volt here. I won't be surprised if you have the option of a wireless charger down here, a couple cup holders. And what's different with this climate control is that we have dual knobs. Currently with the Civic, the HRV, and the CRV, we have triple knobs, one for fan, and then the other two for temperature, I think for each side. I'm trying to remember. I prefer the triple dial setup, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like we have fan control, at least with these buttons. So that kind of replaces that center knob. I can't tell what these two do, but it looks like this is ventilated seats, heated seats, different positions of where the air is going, AC button here. But yeah, it's kind of blurred out in this image. Now this rear view mirror is pretty basic, and these controls up here look very General Motors, like OnStar sort of stuff. Is OnStar still a thing? I have no idea. OnStar was like a big selling point in like the 2010s, if I remember right. So yeah, this rear view mirror looks very, very basic. I just want to go over the powertrains real quick. We don't know for sure, but we know a lot about the Blazer's powertrain. So we know it will share 1, 2, or 3 of the powertrains that we know. We know there will be a 65 kilowatt hour battery. That'll give us nearly 250 miles of range and $46,000 starting point. Then there's the Blazer RS, which will give us 320 miles of range and cost $53K. I don't have all the Blazer trims on here. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. I think I have a couple. Yeah, here. Well, I'll just bring it up for you guys. Check this out. So we have the 1LT, 2LT, RS, and SS. So we'll have some sort of sharing of this sort of setup with the Prologue. And looking at the Blazer SS, the Prologue looks way cleaner, less poser-ish. It looks like a better designed vehicle from the outside. What do you guys think? And the cool thing about this Ultium platform is that we can have front wheel drive, all wheel drive, or rear wheel drive. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of implementations Honda will use. Will they go full tilt here with the Blazer EV-SS and give it like a Prologue Type R? I highly, highly doubt it. Maybe one, because General Motors doesn't want to give that sort of power to Honda. And two, they got to have a reason to kind of upgrade to the ZDX Type S. ZDX Type S has been confirmed. Honda's kind of marketing this vehicle as a more of an adventure EV. So I don't think they're going to advertise too much power. So I think more like 250 to 300 horsepower is kind of my guess is what they're going for, not 557 and not 500 like we'll see on the ZDX Type S, which this is just a guess. We don't know official numbers on ZDX Type S. We just know the Cadillac Lyriq is going to have an all-wheel drive system with 500 horsepower and 477 pound-feet of torque, which makes for a great combination for a potential ZDX Type S, which has been announced. And that ZDX Type S from Acura will be available at launch when that vehicle comes out, also in 2024. So back to the press release. The CR-V Hybrid is coming out this October. I'll be driving it next week, so stay tuned for my driving impressions of the CR-V Hybrid. And they're saying it will be a gateway vehicle for the Prologue, and they'll have shorter-term lease plans in ZEV states like New York, California, etc., to transition hybrid customers to EVs. Interesting. They're calling this neo-rugged styling, and they did design this in LA. We got a large panel roof, which we didn't see in the images. Those wheels that look kind of like daisies or flower petals are 21s. The Prologue will have an exclusive color called North Shore Pearl. That is hard for me to say, which was inspired from the natural beauty of colors near Lake Tahoe in California. Moreover, the visual of fresh fallen snow on the mountains was used to inspire the exclusive charcoal and light gray interior color. Honda says the H Mark badge on the rear of the vehicle is replaced with the full Honda brand name in a stylized typeface that captures the modern and clean design of the Prologue. They're saying that the dimensions and the interior is very similar to the Passport, and the Prologue will have a wheelbase of 121.8 inches and is 8 inches longer and 5 inches wider than the all-new Honda CR-V. They got to make it that big in order to stuff massive battery packs between those two wheels. That's why that wheelbase is massive. Minivans typically have enormous wheelbases. The Odyssey only has 118, it's still huge, 118.1 inch wheelbase. And we're talking 121.8 inch wheelbase here. That is huge. So I said earlier 12 inch screens, but it's 11 inch driver display and 11.3 inch for the multimedia display. We also have height at about 65 inches, width at 78 inches, total length at 192 inches. We don't have weight. Of course, they're not going to give us weight here because, EVs are notoriously super heavy, and that will change, of course, on battery pack and front wheel drive or rear wheel drive versus all wheel drive. So weight is going to have quite a big range with this vehicle. So let's talk about Honda's electrification rollout before we dip out. Honda wants to be carbon neutral by 2050. They will introduce 30 new EVs globally by 2030. Here in the United States, by 2030, maybe we'll see like 5. If you're including Acura, it might be slightly more. Global sales volume by 2030 for battery electric vehicles will be 2 million. In North America, Honda's laid out an aggressive timeline of EV introductions based on 3 initial phases leading to 2030 and ultimately 100% zero emission automobiles by 2040. So by 2040, everything's either going to be hydrogen or battery electric for Honda. So in 2024, we get the Prologue co-developed with General Motors. In 2026, this is where stuff gets real interesting because they will begin the sales of Honda models based on their new Honda e-architecture to be produced by Honda in North America. Aside from that, in 2026, they will also start producing vehicles with Sony under probably some new brand. We don't know a lot about how that's going to look, but yeah, Sony and Honda will be working together in 2026 as well. In 2027, begins sales of a new series of affordable EVs. That's what needs to happen. This Prologue is still going to be expensive, starting in the mid 40s, like the Blazer, and it'll probably top out in the 60s. Would be my guess. But anyways, in 2027, they'll have affordable EVs, and that's what the mass market needs. The mass market needs the Civic, the Accord, the CR-V of EVs. And these affordable EVs will also be co-developed with GM and produced by Honda in North America. Interesting. They won't be produced by General Motors. Honda just invested largely in LG Chem, which is the other half of Ultium Motors. So yes, they will be able to produce essentially Ultium platforms in the Honda plants by 27 to build these affordable EVs, which I didn't read further, but it looks like they mention it right here. So there you go. I'll put that in the link into the description if you guys want to check that out to see this joint venture between Honda and LG. So essentially they can build their own Ultium platforms in-house. They don't need to rely on General Motors for it. So what do you guys think about the new Prologue? I didn't know about it. It was a surprise to me that they're going to unveil it on October 6th out of nowhere, but I'm okay with it. I like surprises. I'm sure you guys like surprises as well. Do you like the design of the Prologue over the Blazer EV? I think it looks a heck of a lot better than the Overstyle Blazer EV. But in the meantime, definitely stay tuned. I'm heading to Santa Barbara next week to drive the all-new Honda CR-V Hybrid. So I can't wait to tell you what the more affordable electrified vehicle is in the Honda lineup before we get to this Prologue in a couple of years. I'm going to end there. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit that bell icon so you don't miss my upcoming Honda, Acura, Japanese, and Korean auto news. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.